Tim Winton's Cloudstreet is often described as a quintessential Australian novel, one that captures the national psyche through the struggles, triumphs, and eccentricities of two working-class families. Set in Perth across 2 decades, from the 1940s to the 1960s, the novel charts the intertwined lives of the Pickles and the Lambs, both damaged by misfortune yet bound together in a ramshackle house on Cloudstreet. It is a tale of survival, belonging, and the search for meaning within family, community, and land itself. The novel opens with a vivid scene of Sam Pickles, a man guided, or cursed, by what he calls the shifty shadow. After a workplace accident severs his fingers, he inherits a large but dilapidated house at 1 Cloudstreet. Instead of prosperity, this inheritance brings responsibility he cannot manage. Sam's wife, Dolly, struggles with alcoholism and neglects their children, leaving the family adrift in dysfunction. Their story embodies the fragility of fortune, showing how quickly luck can curdle into burden. Parallel to the Pickles' misfortune, the Lambs face tragedy of their own. Oriel and Lester Lamb run a small grocery shop with their 6 children until a terrible accident strikes. Quick, their favourite son, nearly drowns, and though he survives physically, he is never the same, withdrawn, haunted, distant. This moment fractures the Lamb's sense of stability and drives Oriel, in particular, to cling to structure, order, and faith. Her sternness contrasts with Lester's open warmth and humour, revealing 2 very different approaches to grief. The Lambs, looking for a way forward, rent half of the Pickles house. What begins as a practical arrangement grows into an entangled, uneasy coexistence. The families could not be more different. The Pickles are fatalistic, believing life is dictated by luck and chance, while the Lambs are industrious, convinced that hard work and faith will yield meaning and salvation. Their worldviews clash constantly, yet the friction produces moments of tenderness, resilience, and growth. Cloudstreet becomes both a battleground and a sanctuary. The house itself is a central character in the novel, heavy with history and ghostly presences. Once a mansion, it bears scars of past violence, particularly the memory of Aboriginal girls who were taken and housed there under state policy. Its creaking timbers and ominous atmosphere remind readers that history haunts the present, especially in Australia where colonial dispossession remains unresolved. The house contains joy and laughter but also sorrow, demanding that its occupants reckon with forces larger than themselves. Rose Pickles grows up amid her parents' neglect, becoming resourceful and independent. Her hunger is not just for food but for stability and dignity in a world where her father gambles away their prospects and her mother drinks herself into oblivion. Rose's story is emblematic of the struggles many children face when forced to assume adult responsibilities too soon. Despite her resentment toward her family, she carries the fierce determination to survive and shape her own life. On the Lamb's side, Fish Lamb embodies the novel's spiritual and mystical heart. After his drowning, Fish is left brain-damaged, existing between life and death, body and spirit. He narrates parts of the novel from a transcendent perspective, perceiving the world with a luminous innocence that the others lack. His presence is both a reminder of loss and a source of strange beauty. Through Fish, Winton suggests that true meaning lies beyond material struggle, in a space of wonder and grace. Quick Lamb, once the golden boy, becomes restless and haunted. He carries guilt about Fish's condition, believing that the accident diminished his brother's life. As he grows, he drifts into bitterness and aimlessness, leaving home in search of freedom but never finding peace. His journey mirrors the broader theme of post-war Australian youth, torn between tradition and change, responsibility and self-discovery. Quick represents those who wrestle with the weight of family history and the difficulty of forging an independent identity. Meanwhile, Rose Pickles and Quick Lamb develop a complicated romance. Their love is intense yet troubled, shadowed by the dysfunction of their families and their own insecurities. Their relationship embodies the possibility of connection across divisions, class, worldview, trauma, yet it is also marked by fear of repeating the mistakes of their parents. Through their love, Winton illustrates the challenges of intimacy when people are burdened with unhealed wounds. The novel often shifts between moments of the mundane, cooking, cleaning, working, and moments of transcendence, visions, symbolic encounters, dreamlike sequences. Winton blurs the line between realism and myth, reminding readers that ordinary life is suffused with the sacred. Fish's perspective, in particular, heightens this blend, turning the novel into a meditation on the porous boundary between life and death, time and eternity. In this way, Cloudstreet is not just a family saga but also a spiritual parable. Dolly Pickles remains one of the most tragic figures. Her drinking isolates her from her family, yet she is also vulnerable and deeply human. Rose's anger toward her mother is mixed with longing for love. Dolly's brokenness reflects generational trauma and the limited roles available to women in mid-century Australia. She lashes out in pain but also reveals moments of tenderness, reminding us that even flawed parents are capable of love, however misshapen. In contrast, Oriel Lamb channels her grief into discipline and control. She sets up a tent in the yard rather than live fully inside the house, symbolizing her refusal to surrender to its dark history. Her pragmatism and severity sometimes alienate her children, yet she is also a figure of fierce devotion. Oriel embodies the paradox of maternal strength. Her love protects, but it can also suffocate. Her tent becomes a symbol of both resilience and exile. One of the novel's central tensions is the opposition between fate and free will. The Pickles surrender to luck, often using it as an excuse for failure. The Lambs cling to faith and hard work, sometimes rigidly. Yet as years pass, both families learn that life is more complex. Luck can be wasted, hard work can be thwarted, and meaning must be created, not inherited. By the end, both families move closer to reconciliation, recognizing that community and love matter more than ideology. The setting of Perth and the surrounding Australian landscape is vital to the novel. Winton depicts rivers, deserts, coastlines, and skies with an intensity that transforms them into symbols of renewal and danger. The Swan River, where fish nearly drowns, is a site of both death and baptism, a reminder of how nature shapes human destiny. The land is not just backdrop but living force, shaping the characters' lives and carrying echoes of indigenous dispossession. As the years pass, the families endure wars, economic shifts, births, and deaths. The house fills with noise and chaos but also laughter and music. Small triumphs, meals shared, songs sung, jokes told, carry immense weight, showing that survival is built not only on grand events but on the accumulation of ordinary resilience. Winton's prose elevates these moments, portraying family life as both messy and sacred. Quick and Rose's eventual marriage is a culmination of the novel's central arc. Their union is not idyllic but real, forged through struggle, compromise, and endurance. They represent the possibility of renewal and the next generation's hope to break cycles of pain. Their child carries both families forward, symbolizing reconciliation and continuity. In their story, Winton suggests that healing is possible, even if imperfect. Fisher's destiny, however, is to return to the river. In the novel's haunting conclusion, he re-enters the water and dies, finally achieving wholeness in the realm beyond. His death is not a defeat but a release, uniting the fragmented aspects of his being. This moment, both tragic and transcendent, crystallizes Winton's vision of life as a cycle of loss and renewal, where death itself is part of belonging. The novel ends with the families gathered together, celebrating life amid grief. Cloudstreet, once a site of division and sorrow, becomes a place of community and continuity. The house, no longer haunted, is finally at peace. In this resolution, Winton affirms the power of shared endurance, that broken families can build meaning, and that places scarred by history can still become homes. Symbolically, Cloudstreet resonates with broader Australian identity. The Pickles and Lambs represent two national archetypes: luck versus labour, cynicism versus faith. Their eventual convergence mirrors Australia's search for balance between competing visions of itself. The haunted house evokes colonial history, reminding readers of the violence done to Indigenous people, while the river evokes the enduring power of land and water to shape identity. Winton roots national identity in both trauma and hope. For contemporary readers, the novel's themes remain strikingly relevant. The struggles with addiction, poverty, generational trauma, and fractured families echo in modern societies worldwide. The tension between fatalism and effort speaks to today's debates about structural inequality versus personal responsibility. The haunted house and its Aboriginal ghosts remind us that histories of injustice must be acknowledged before healing can occur. Cloudstreet endures because it captures both the intimacy of family life and the vastness of national history. Winton's style is lyrical yet grounded, combining colloquial dialogue with poetic imagery. His characters speak in rough, funny, and tender ways that capture the rhythms of working-class Australian life. At the same time, his descriptions of land, water, and sky elevate the novel into myth. This blend of the everyday and the transcendent makes Cloudstreet feel both familiar and profound, accessible and visionary. Ultimately, Cloudstreet is about belonging to family, to place, to history. The Pickles and Lambs, broken as they are, find a way to create community. The novel affirms that life is messy, haunted, and often painful, but also rich with grace. Winton leaves readers with a vision of hope, not through perfection or escape, but through endurance, forgiveness, and connection. It is a novel that continues to resonate because it reflects the deepest truths of human life. Cloudstreet is both a family saga and a meditation on survival in a fractured world. It invites viewers to see their own families in the pickles and lambs, to feel the weight of history in their own homes, and to find meaning in the ordinary acts of endurance. Its relevance lies in its ability to bridge the personal and the universal, the national and the timeless. That's it for now. Consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps us create more content. Let us know what story you would like to see next. Happy learning!